Hello! Today we are here to discuss Pergamon. This is a Kickstarter that I just recently got in. It was a 3-pack from Eagle-Gryphon Games, and Pergamon and Harmonia and Sagani. Didn't know what any of those games were, but I'm generally a fan of the Eagle-Gryphon Games, so I thought, well, I'll give it a try. It's a 3-pack, and the price was basically the price of one Kickstarter, usual Kickstarter, so I'll give it a go. Before we get into any further discussion on it, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell over there, because you want to hear all about games that you might not have heard of before, or games that you might have heard of before, because we got lots of both in our collection.
Yes.
So, Pergamon was originally released in 2011. This is the second edition, which just came in from the Kickstarter, so it hasn't even hit stores yet. It's up for pre-order on the Eagle-Gryphon Games site. It's got a Board Game Geek rating of 6.9 and a Board Game Geek rank of 1547. It plays 2 to 4 players, and it usually runs about 45 minutes. I think ours was probably a little longer because we were learning how to play. Age 10 and up. Designed by Stefan Dora and Ralph Zerlind. Art by Clemens Franz. And as I mentioned, it's published by Eagle-Gryphon Games. Right now, it's available on Game Steward for $44.99 for the Kickstarter. They always buy Kickstarters and sell them for a slight markup.
Right.
And then Amazon has got it for, what we've been seeing, $49.99. I would, wait. If you can get it at Game Steward for $44.99 now, why would you go to Amazon?
Right.
Okay. The Kickstarter for this with the 2 games was originally $85 for all 3. And then eBay, there's a copy up for $39.95, and Eagle has it on pre-order for $44.95. So lots of different prices, all in the $40 to $45 range for this game. So for that price, what you get a 3-fold board. It's pretty decent size, not big, not small. Yeah. You get a lot of cardboard, just a whole bunch of tiles. And it does. There are some wooden. There's a wooden sundial piece, which is pretty cool. It's got some painting on it, and then you've got little standees that are not standees, but they're wooden meeples that look like kind of like little explorers with their pith helmets on. And you've got cardboard money. I'm not a big fan of the cardboard money, but it looks okay. The odd thing about it, though, is the silver are 5s and the gold are 1s.
And the silver are smaller.
Are they?
Smaller in size.
I thought they all fit in the same slot. Are you sure they're different sizes?
I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, I think you're wrong on that. They're all in one section of the storage container. Apart from that, I mean, it's really all you get: cardboard and the token. Oh, and you do get this nice embroidered bag. So, yes.
Oh, and you get this cute little sundial to mark where you are.
Yep. Yeah, and that goes along the calendar, kind of marks the round marker. So all in all, not bad, not great. There's nothing super exciting about it. I'll give it probably a 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair valuation, 6.5. I mean, the one thing that stands out is that sundial, and then the shape of the meeples is unique as well. But yeah,
I'm gonna give it a 7 just because of the sundial and the meeples and the fancy little bag.
So, talking about the theme, you're basically a curator or someone who goes out and finds exhibits for a museum, specifically in this case, the Royal Museum of Berlin, which you said was named Pergamon?
Oh, I don't actually know, but it's I've never been. Don't know much about it. But on the back of the victory points, it talks about it in German.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So it makes sense. It's in German since it's Royal Museum of Berlin.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know where the Pergamon name comes from, but I would say, now I do. In 1878, the Royal Museum of Berlin commissioned excavations in Pergamon, an ancient Greek city, which that sounds Greek, so that makes sense.
That makes
Found
sense.
in present-day Turkey. The city experienced its heyday around 200 BC, so it was a Greek city in Turkey.
What is presently Turkey?
Yeah,
it used to be part of Greece, I'm assuming.
I guess Greece was a lot larger back then. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's a lot of city-states. So
okay, so so it's set in that our 1878 time period. You're finding these ancient works of pottery and rings, your dreaded rings, and masks and different artifacts for your museum. And people get tired of them very fast. So you have to keep adding more exhibits.
New old things.
Yes, new old things that look just like the old things.
Yes.
So you're really just going and putting them back into the container and changing the sign on them.
Older.
It looks identical to the one from 100 BC, but now it's 200 BC.
The carbon dating says this one's older than that one.
And I can believe back in those time periods that the museums probably would do things like that.
Just throw some dirt on it. It's older, guys.
Yes, exactly. I think that predates carbon dating, doesn't it? 78. So yeah, it would be very easy to pull one off like that. So probably much easier than going to Greece and doing an excavation to try to find more. So yeah, and I think it's a fun theme for this. I mean, it's not really that intrinsic to the gameplay, but it's fun. It adds, and it does flow with the gameplay. And I can't say it. You could put probably other things into the same mold and do the same activities, but it is a fun way of expressing this game, I think.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they carried it pretty well throughout because even the victory points have your museum visitors on one side.
So. And their tickets. Yeah,
and their tickets on the other. So
yeah, I think it's a pretty well done theme. The board is nicely laid out. It's the art it's okay. There's nothing exciting about the art, but I do think it's fitting for the game. The board kind of reminds me of the Grand Austria Hotel. The art, as far as the numbering and just kind of the style of the art, it's okay.
It's okay.
I'll probably go ahead and give the theme a 7 because it is carried throughout. It's not, like I said, intrinsic to the gameplay, but it does lend an air to fun to the theme or the game.
Yeah, I think I was going to go a 7 as well. I mean, same reasons. It's it's a theme that they used, and
it's a theme they used,
and it works.
And they used it well.
And it works.
Yeah,
they did use it. You're right.
Yeah. I'm right there with you guys. It's 7 on that.
All right. So moving on to the rulebook. So the rulebook is 8 pages long. It has a partial cover, I guess. It's not really a cover. It is the cover.
It's got some artwork on it, at least.
It's got the game the description of kind of the background, and then the contents does have pictures.
It does have pictures.
So it doesn't violate one of my pet peeves. The setup is super easy. It's got step by step with pictures and arrows pointing to where everything goes. I like when they do that, and it only takes 1 page of the rulebook for it. The actual gameplay goes through step by step on each one in sections, very nicely done.
Voting important text.
The headers are clearly delineated and they make sense for everything. There really was no confusion. We read through it very quickly, very simple. Everybody except for Miranda was paying attention as usual. I
wanted there to be some confusion at one point, just for my benefit, but it didn't work out.
No. There's 2-player rules on page 7. I personally, anytime I see alternate rules for 2 players, I try to avoid playing it 2-player because I just don't like when you modify the games. Yeah. But it adds the Tomb Raider to the game. I don't know what that adds. It's probably a non-player.
Gotcha.
That's that other meeple.
Yes. Yeah. And then there's also a Antiquities trading expansion, which we didn't play with in this case, but it just gives you a little back on the back, a half page of that. Well,
that might be what Kevin was looking for.
That might be.
Yeah. That's what I said. Maybe it lets you get money. I don't know. We didn't really, because we kept running out of money, so we'll get to that gameplay.
Yeah.
But I think the rulebook is very effective. We conveyed the rules quickly, no confusion. We got into playing it really quickly. I'm probably going to give them an 8.
Yeah, I think that sounds right with how it went.
Yep. All right, moving on to gameplay. So first, you determine turn order. It says in the rulebook, oldest player, but we just used our handy app to decide. And then based on turn order, you're going to fill in not related to turn order. To start the game, you're going to fill in this board, this grid that has 5 different rows in it, which represent the centuries BC from 100 to 500 BC. And you're going to draw random tiles out of this bag. The first round, it'll be 8 tiles. And you'll draw them out and place them and distribute them on there based upon the row of the 100th century of the tile. And if you happen to get more than 4, it says to move one row up or one row down to add it. And then if those are filled, then go 2 rows. We never even got close to filling a row. I think the last turn we had more than
we had a 4. Yeah.
But in general, we just with 4 players in particular, you're going to run out of tiles, and you're not going to get an option to overflow very easily. So these kind of act as an auction bidding pool. You're going to then place your worker at the top in turn order on what you're willing to basically risk, because you're looking for an investment for your funds as far as going on these excavations. And you get these cards that will give you an idea of how much investors are willing to pay. They don't tell you exactly on the front or on the back. They have either a chest, which will go up to 8 coins, or they'll have a money bag, which goes up to 4 coins. And you don't know whether it's going to be 1 to 4 or it's going to be, you'll know it's 1 to 4. You don't know what's going to fall in that range, and you don't know whether it'll be 5 or 8 or something between. So you're gambling on how much funds there's going to be, and those funds are scattered across all players. Yeah. So you're placing your worker on how much money you're willing to invest, but in addition, it also has the rows of the centuries that you're able to excavate based upon where you place your worker. Mm-hmm. So the person you place on the money goes up the further left you go, but the order of actually drafting your tiles, it starts on the far right. So, and the money distribution, more importantly, starts on the far right. Mm-hmm. So as the money's dispersed, it could run out before it gets to your worker, that's really stinks when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But any money that is left over after everybody's gotten goes to that last person, which I don't think ever happened, did it?
I got 1 extra coin.
One extra coin. Okay.
Yeah. It's very rare that you're going to get that.
Yeah, at least in a 4-player game.
Yeah. But the good news is whoever's furthest left, as a consolation, will get to be the first player to place for the next round. But that's not really that big of a consolation.
No, it really
isn't. Because you're getting potentially less money than what you were hoping for, and you're the last one to get to draft one of the rows for the further left you go. So it's kind of a catch-22, because you need money in order to excavate, because the deeper your excavation goes, the more money you have to pay. You pay 1 coin per row you go down. So it's basically the first row, it costs 1 coin for the whole row. You get all the tiles in that row for 1 coin. Second row, 2 coin for all tiles that are in that row, and so on. But the good news is the deeper you go, the more valuable, because they're the more rare, the older the object is. And they're
more
worth
interest
that
the people get for the item.
Yes. Yeah. Then there are also some extra special exhibit items that if you go down and discover will give you bonus victory points.
That look just like the others.
Yes, they do. Except for they have the placard that shows they're worth a victory point more.
That's right.
If you tell them it's worth more, they'll
believe it.
Really, I don't know why they didn't just go down to the dollar store and just buy up a bunch of pieces of garbage and put signs next to them to say they were ultra rare. So, I thought it was a neat mechanic the way they did it. I mean, it's a simple drafting mechanism of going in and choosing what you want, but it's a risk-reward, pressure-luck element to the game.
So.
Yeah.
And then once you can choose to bank your exhibit at any point. You can keep the tiles, but there is a penalty for keeping too many tiles, because after every set
pay to store them.
after your first 3, you have to pay a coin for every 3. But it rounds down. I mean, rounds up, I should say.
Rounds up, yeah.
So if you have 4, you're going to pay 1 coin. Or if you had 6, you're going to pay 1 coin. But if you have 7, you'd be paying 2. So you've got to keep an eye on how many tiles you save up, but the longer your chain, because you get basically 2 halves of an image on a tile, and you're trying to match it with another tile on either side that is going to have that same image and create a chain. And when you do that chain, it's going to give you the century and the actual year of that item when you pair them up. So I thought that was pretty cool too. Like I said, but everything looks identical. So all the masks look exactly the same regardless of what century they're in.
Right. Well, I mean, it makes sense as far as mechanically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as far as thematically, no. But as far as mechanically, with the way that it's all built together, yes, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then throughout the game lasts 12 rounds, but that's based upon the calendar, which so that each one represents a month. And as you're going through the calendar, there's basically scoring rounds that trigger where they're showing your exhibits off in the museum at that round, and whoever you basically bank your victory points that you've accumulated, because every time you decide to do an exhibit, you get a victory point immediately, but you then will score whenever those scoring rounds occur, however many points it's at. The key is once you play it, anybody who plays a future exhibit that is more valuable, based upon the collection of it, will push all the other ones down a space. So you may think you're going to end up earning 4 victory points, but you get pushed down to 3 or 2. Mm-hmm. So you know the earlier you bank, the more risk there is of you getting pushed down. And then after the scoring, each round, people get tired of those exhibits and they automatically move down by a certain number from 3 to 5, depending on the round it is in the game. So your exhibits are going to continuously run off and fall out of favor in the museum. And when they do, you just get your tiles back because you only have 3 scoring tiles. And if you've got all 3 of them on the board, you can either not score again, or you have to remove one of yours by your choice from the board and then put a new exhibit in play. But since they all fall off in value eventually anyway, we never ran into a problem where we had to burn those.
No.
Yeah, they just get pushed down continuously. Again, that may change with player count because you'll have less competition, less people putting exhibits into play. They may put more exhibits in play, so it may balance out. But you're going to have, potentially less exhibits going into play on a round. Mm-hmm. So, that's really most of the gameplay. At the end, there's a final scoring. Well, at every scoring round, there's a special item that you get for a bonus of victory points for having the oldest of, which basically meant Kevin got bonus points every round.
Well, somebody got one.
I think Miranda got one. Yeah, Miranda got one of them, but it was pretty much you dominating those.
I got those.
So, Melissa and I just basically watched the game while the 2 of them played because we were not in the running.
Never had any money.
Yeah, we were both broke all the time. I haven't figured out the strategy of this one yet, but I like the mechanics of it.
Yeah,
I think that I kind of sucked at it.
And I think several of us missed. I think when you read the rule book, it said something about polishing the artifacts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Nobody did that.
Nobody did.
Nobody did that.
Nobody did it. So
that could have maybe changed things.
Well, I was so broke all the time, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
But yes, whenever you do an exhibit, you have the option of polishing it by paying up to 3 coins for up to 3 additional victory points. I never had that option. I was always broke when I did an exhibit, so it didn't matter to me. But that was an option in the rules that you could do. I don't think it would have made me even competitive still, but I think I was only 5 points behind you guys, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Because I got the first exhibits up, early in the game, but that helped. But I got one decent sized one early in the game. Mm-hmm. So all in all, I thought it was a decent game. I don't think it's anything outstanding, but it's not bad for the length of game it is. It definitely doesn't outstay its welcome. I thought, I'd give it probably about a 7, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. There was, the mechanics were fun. It was a little frustrating, though, the money aspect, not ever really having very much money. I felt like it kind of made the game a little less exciting because it made it more complex, which I don't mind.
Well, I think it needed that element in order to keep it balanced, because otherwise you just buy it.
You're probably right, but then there's the people who are not getting any money.
Yeah.
And so, but I guess that comes into like where and when are you going to place your meeple in a certain spot?
It's the risk versus reward of it all.
And so, but as far as the game went, I thought it was all right. I too am going to go with a 7. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a risk taker, as evidenced by the fact that I came in dead last in this game. But I started taking risks at the end, but then never got any money.
They unfortunately didn't pan out. We kept getting bad breaks on the cards.
Right. But even so, I did enjoy playing it, and I think I'm at a 7 as well. So.
Okay, so 7s all around.
Mm-hmm.
So this game is, like I said, not in stores yet. It was back in 2011 for the original version. I don't know what the original version looked like compared to this one, but if you're interested in this, it's on pre-order on Eagle-Gryphon's website. You can get it right now if you order from Game Steward, and it's around. It will be around soon elsewhere. So check it out, and hopefully you can share your experiences when you played it and tell us how frustrating it was when you didn't have any money. So until next time, bye.
Bye.